My wife, Lucy, has this thing where she can read minds, and I didn't even know it. On top of that, I used to think all sorts of critical things about her every single day. We got married a year and a half ago because it was her grandfather's dying wish, and she'd been engaged to me since we were kids. After the wedding, we made a deal that after a year, we'd get a divorce, and she could go be with her first love. But when her first love, Mark, found out she'd married me, he got really upset and moved abroad. So there I was, married to a rich, beautiful woman with a great figure, and I decided I was going to try and win her over. Little did I know, less than 6 months later, Lucy's grandfather passed away. Right away, she contacted Mark to come back home. When Mark got back, my wife, Lucy, who was usually so cold and distant, didn't even wait to leave the airport before she started dancing happily in the hallway. And me, as her driver, I got to see the whole thing. When we got to the airport, it was the first time I'd ever seen Mark. He was skinny and pale, with delicate features. He was an attractive young man, but I instantly didn't like him. "George, come take Mark's suitcase," my wife said in her usual cold voice. Used to her orders, I went over without a word, took the suitcase, and put it in the trunk. Driving the fancy car with its smooth suspension and using my good driving skills, Lucy and Mark could finally talk in the back seat. Lucy said, "Mark, during this past year, I've kept my distance from George. Our relationship has been completely proper. I've been waiting for you to come back so we can get married." Lucy's usual coldness was gone, and she seemed like a friendly, approachable person now. Driving along the airport highway, I can't say I wasn't feeling bad. That would be a lie. Mark replied, "Lucy, I misunderstood you in the past. Don't worry, I'll make you happy from now on." They both whispered sweet things to each other, but the car was so quiet that I heard everything. I couldn't help but think, could you at least wait until I'm not around, since I'm still your husband? What's going on with the world these days? I sighed deeply, feeling annoyed, and sped up to pass the car in front of me. A slow car was blocking the fast lane, and I complained about it in my head. Without using my signal, I passed it on the right. But just then, a green electric car changed lanes from the far right. The two cars crashed. Just as I managed to get our car under control, the driver of the electric car, I don't know what happened to him, just kept going faster. Then, my head started spinning. After the car flipped over, everything went dark. When I woke up, I was in the driver's seat, and Lucy was stuck in the back. I couldn't get her out no matter how hard I tried. Meanwhile, Mark was a few feet away from the car. Luckily, the police helped us get out in the end. It was my fault. I forgot to use my hazard lights. Luckily, after a checkup, all three of us were okay. After this accident, I finally understood something. I thought to myself, this woman makes over $4 billion a year. Even though the company and stocks aren't mine, the profits made this year count as marital property. As long as we get divorced, I can at least get $2 billion. With that kind of money, why should I keep trying so hard to please her? The bank's big savings account, even though the market isn't doing great, still gives over 4% interest. That's $80 million in interest per year. After doing the math, I looked at Lucy with a smile and thought, "Lucy, hurry up and divorce me. I want that $2 billion divorce money, and then I'll buy a big house in the countryside. I'll even support a college student with $10,000 a month." With that thought, I couldn't help but grin. Lucy looked at me, confused, and realized that even though I wasn't saying anything, she could somehow hear what I was thinking. Of course, I had no idea about this. I glared at Lucy and said, "Lucy, I'm the legal husband here, and you want to be with Mark? No way." I thought, that's right, just like this. Hurry up and divorce me. Then throw that money at me. Although that Mark isn't exactly a saint either. He's the one who sneaked into Grandpa's hospital room and pushed him too hard, which caused his brain bleed. But if I tell Lucy about that, she'll probably think I'm just making things up. At that moment, Mark moved towards Lucy to put his arm around her, but she pushed him away. Mark stumbled, lost his balance, and fell to the ground. Usually she would rush to him, looking really worried. But now, with a slight raise of her eyebrows and a smile, she looked at me and said, "You're right. I'm still a married woman. I'll be careful." Then she called an ambulance to take Mark to the hospital and asked her assistant to go with him. Mark and I just stood there, frozen. What's going on? This isn't how things were supposed to happen. After that, Lucy and I got into another car to go home. I couldn't figure things out the whole way. I thought, did Lucy hit her head in the crash? As long as I'm here, there's no way she and Mark can get back together. So, what's going on? She used to talk about divorce all the time, but now she's suddenly changed her mind. I slowly turned to look at Lucy, and to my surprise, she had a sly smile on her face, her bright eyes almost saying, "You're still pretending, huh?" No, this is unbearable. I coldly said, "Aren't you going to call and check if Mark is okay? If he's missing an arm or a leg, that'd be even better, ha ha ha." Lucy didn't respond, but called her assistant. Then, without a care, she said, "No big deal, just some soft tissue bruising. Honey, let's head home." I thought, did she just call me honey? What's going on? Did my acting not work? Or maybe I didn't make myself clear enough? I cleared my throat and said, "With Mark looking like that, just watching him makes me sick. As long as I don't agree to divorce, you'll never be with him." Lucy's delicate face now had a meaningful smile as she said, "Okay, I'll listen to you, honey. I'll keep my distance from him, and I won't divorce you." I was already confused, but now I was even more baffled. What's going on? I thought. Didn't you used to talk about getting a divorce every day? You have to be honest. You're a businesswoman, one of the top 10 entrepreneurs in the country. You can't just break your promises. You said you'd divorce me once Mark returned, and that $2 billion, hurry up and give it to me, then I'll pack up and leave. My brain was working overtime trying to figure this out. Suddenly, a nice smell came closer, and Lucy wrapped her arm around mine, saying, "Honey, what do you want for dinner tonight? Should we eat first, or should we eat me?" I thought, is this woman possessed by some kind of spirit? How did she suddenly change? I thought she was the cold, distant, uninterested type. Now she's calling me honey. It's enough to make me weak. Wait, no, this must be because my acting isn't convincing enough. I need to think about this. After all, a bad guy character with billions at stake should make a stronger impression, one that makes people really hate him. Once we got home, I made an excuse to go to the bathroom. Lucy told the maid to get dinner ready. Cold water poured down from the shower, soaking me and making me shiver. I still couldn't understand how things had changed so suddenly. Lucy asked, "Sweetheart, are you done yet? You usually finish showering in 5 minutes, but it's been 40 minutes today." Her voice came from outside the door, sounding like bad news. It made my hair stand on end. I thought, something's not right. There must be something I missed. I need to figure this out quickly, or I'll end up dying before I even get my divorce money. With a whoosh, the bathroom sliding door opened. A slender, delicate hand came in first. Lucy walked towards me, and I couldn't help but feel my nose twitch. I thought, this is dangerous. What wife comes into the bathroom wearing only a white shirt? Wait, she's also wearing black stockings, but that's not the point. This is clearly a trap. As the evil villain, if I even hint at anything suggestive, I'll be in trouble. She must be trying to tempt me and then accuse me of forcing myself on her during our marriage. Yes, that's it. This way she won't have to pay me the $2 billion divorce settlement. And I won't be able to support a cute, lively college girl. Stay strong, George. Don't give up everything for just one thing. Just as I was thinking about how to get away from her, ding-a-ling! I immediately switched to my dramatic mode, glaring at Lucy with fake anger. I snapped, "Who's calling at home? Don't they need to rest? Hang up now!" But inside, I was overjoyed. I thought, this call came at the perfect time. I think I saw Mark's name on the screen. Quick, answer it. Then I can leave them to their world, and I can stay here alone." Lucy hesitated for 2 seconds before picking up the phone. In the quiet bathroom, I could hear Mark's sad voice on the other end. He said, "Lucy, my wound hurts so much. I'm all alone at the hospital, and it's so lonely. Could you come keep me company?" I thought, I have to admit, Mark is really good at playing the sad, clingy guy. He really knows how to act. I feel sorry for him, but go to him, Lucy. Go now. Go, Lucy. Lucy frowned, clearly thinking about it. I thought, no, I need to make things worse. I frowned and said, "What time is it? What does Mark mean by calling you? Am I dead? Tell him to get lost." Maybe he heard my voice, as his weak reply came after a short pause. "George, I'm sorry for interrupting you two. You guys carry on. I'll be fine alone. Even if it gets cold tonight, I can handle it. Maybe just catch a little cold or a fever." I thought, nice. Mark really has the potential to be a sad, clingy male lead. He's perfectly in sync with me, the evil side character. It's a perfect match. Unstoppable. I kept complaining, acting like the typical villain who breaks up true love. Lucy's frown finally relaxed, and she came closer to me. Staring at her flawless, clear skin, even I, who had seen my share of beautiful women in late-night videos, froze for a second. And then, before I could think, I was kissed. My first kiss, gone. I thought, damn it, my first kiss is gone. Lucy, this sneaky woman, plays the part of a tempting spirit perfectly. Then, a slender finger pressed against my lips, and she said, "Don't speak yet." Lucy picked up her phone, and it was like she became a different person. Her face quickly turned into the cold, distant beauty as she spoke. "Mr. Ito, my husband and I are busy in the bathroom right now. The hospital has already arranged a caregiver for you, and if that's not enough, we can send more people over." On the other end, Mark coughed a few times, sounding like he was either choking or really sick. Then his weak and desperate voice came through. "Lucy, it was my fault from the start. You're being so heartless now. I must be being punished. I'll endure everything. But please remember, I will only ever be separated from you when the heavens and earth unite, and mountains and rivers disappear. That's what you said when you sent me away." I thought, listen to Mark's words, I'm almost moved. Lucy, are you really this cold-hearted? Hurry up and go take care of him. I pushed Lucy's finger away and said, "Stay away from me. Don't try any of these tricks. I've had so many girlfriends over the years, I can't even count them all. These little tricks won't work on me." Lucy gave me a sly look, then said into the phone, "Mr. Ito, take care of yourself. My husband and I have more important things to do." Without waiting for him to respond, Lucy hung up the phone. She quickly moved closer, her eyes full of flirtation as she said, "So, what you mean is that you're a master at picking up women? Now that no one's bothering us, show me what you got. Come on." After Lucy finished speaking, she tried to do something inappropriate to me. I thought, don't think I don't know. You've been acting like the ice-cold beauty all this time, and now you're suddenly so passionate. There's definitely something fishy going on. You're trying to tempt me, then accuse me of forcing myself on you during our marriage just to get out of paying me the huge divorce settlement. Even though that was what I thought, I couldn't lose my cool. I looked at Lucy with a playful smirk and said, "Very well, woman, you've caught my attention. Close your eyes, and I'll show you what it really means to be a master of temptation." Lucy smiled and did as I said, closing her eyes. I quickly slipped out of the bathroom, grabbed some clothes, and rushed downstairs to the dining room. The maid saw me and smiled, saying, "Young master, you're done with your shower. Just tell young madam to come down and we can start dinner." I nodded, sitting at the table with a blank expression. Before long, Lucy, wearing pajamas, slowly walked downstairs and sat opposite me, saying, "Eat, honey. You've lost weight recently. You need to take care of your health." The maid was momentarily stunned by Lucy's appearance. Then she lowered her head and opened the warming covers on the dishes. When I saw the spread on the table, I couldn't help but exclaim in disbelief. I was speechless, thinking, what is this? Stir-fried kidney, ginseng and bull's penis soup, steamed oysters, stir-fried eggs with chives, sea cucumbers? What's all this heavy stuff? Are you trying to make me explode with blood? I'm still a virgin. Where am I supposed to release all this energy tonight? Lucy really lives up to her title as the princess of the rich family, so cunning and deep. She's been plotting against me from the moment I stepped into the house. From now on, I have to stay on high alert. In the end, I only ate the stir-fried eggs with chives, because once again, I saw that sly smile from Lucy. I locked myself in the bedroom. Lying on the bed, after I calmed down, I couldn't help but think back to how Lucy had tried to tempt me. My mind started racing, and I spent the whole night dreaming of Lucy in various tempting poses. The next morning, as I opened the door, Lucy was there, with dark circles under her eyes. Had she not slept well? She deserved it. I said, let's go to the hospital today and check if Mark is still alive. Lucy glanced at me and snorted, saying, there's a charity event tonight. Don't forget to come. Mark will be there too. I had originally planned to refuse, to give those two some alone time, but my brain instantly started working overtime. I thought, just letting them be alone isn't enough. Tonight I'll make sure to embarrass you, Lucy, at the charity event. Let's see if you still won't divorce me. Lucy, who had been walking ahead, suddenly stopped. She said, remember, you must come. I thought, I have to go, and I'll make sure Mark is completely humiliated. Then Lucy will get all worried and side with him. At the event, she'll announce our divorce in front of everyone. Time flew by. I arrived at the hotel for the charity event, dressed in sportswear. The men were all in suits, and the women were in various evening gowns. But I stood out in my sportswear. This wasn't important, though. After all, many people knew I was Lucy's so-called formal husband. Soon, Lucy appeared looking glamorous, followed by the dazzling Mark. They truly looked like the perfect couple. The host said, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The charity event is about to begin. With the host's announcement, the room quieted down. After introducing various important people, the host cheerfully added, we've added a fun new part to today's charity event. It's a quiz with prizes. You can raise your hands to answer, and if you get a question right, you donate 10,000 yuan to the charity fund. If you get it wrong, you donate 50,000 yuan. I thought, perfect. This is a great chance to embarrass Lucy and make her totally disappointed in me. Seeing everyone looking at him, the host began reading the first question. First question, what is the most expensive watch in the world? This one's easy. I raised my hand immediately. The host saw me and quickly responded. Mr. George, would you like to answer? He handed me the microphone and I shouted, a waiting watch, because the longer you wait for it, the more expensive it gets. The whole room burst into laughter. The host smiled and said, wrong answer. You owe 50,000 yuan for the charity fund. I gave a playful look to Lucy and stepped to the front to prepare for the next question. Next question. What is the largest island in the world? As soon as the host finished speaking, I pressed down Mark's hand, which was about to go up, and confidently walked under the spotlight. Looking at the important guests in the front, I loudly yelled, Pizza Island, because every slice is a full island. Mark walked up to Lucy, looking unhappy, and said, Lucy, George is really active today. He's not even letting anyone else answer the questions. I raised an eyebrow and gave them a challenging look. The spotlight happened to land on Lucy and Mark's side. Whether on purpose or not, I didn't know. The host chuckled. At first glance, Miss Liu and Mr. Ito really make a perfect couple. Let me ask another question. What river separates the cowherd and the weaver girl in Chinese legend? Mark raised his hand with a slight smile, elegantly preparing to answer. I quickly ran over, grabbed the microphone from the host, and answered, The river of the underworld. Mark gritted his teeth and sneered. George, aren't you afraid of being laughed at for answering so carelessly? Instead of reacting to Mark's anger, Lucy just looked at me with a neutral expression. I thought, tonight I'll make the two of you embarrass yourselves, and tomorrow the news will be full of it. That silly board of directors will have to make Lucy divorce me for the sake of the company's interests. Yes, I'll make it happen. The atmosphere in the room was lively, with everyone watching me like I was a circus act. I couldn't care less. After all, with a $2 billion divorce settlement, what could possibly be better than being financially free? The host cleared his throat twice, and the room quieted down. He asked, next question is a phrase, fill in, pain something, flow something. No one raised their hands. All eyes were on me, waiting for my next move. I zipped my jacket all the way up to my chin and calmly said, painless abortion. The host was speechless. Mr. Wang, please be mindful of the question. The host, encouraged by the increasing donation amounts, continued to ask more bizarre and strange questions. I took the microphone without changing my expression, answering without taking a breath. Big feet, boxer shorts, pig's trotters, big mouths, and big buddies in the crotch. Lucy and the other socialites were all laughing, and the room was filled with loud laughter. I thought, ha ha ha, I'm so wild and carefree. Lucy must be feeling utterly humiliated now. As the laughter died down, the host continued with the next question. What's the word high something nothing? Mark raised his hand, but before he could finish, I slapped his chin upward, forcibly closing his mouth. Then, with everyone looking in shock, I took the microphone and smiled slightly, saying, the teacher mentioned this in class. It's called HD porn. The host awkwardly took over. Mr. Wang is really fond of making jokes, especially sexual jokes. Mr. Wang must have made that mistake on purpose to donate more. Right? I thought, I'm not donating on purpose. I'm just trying to make Lucy mad, huh? The host calmly added 50,000 yuan to the donation amount and continued, next question, something thick. I confidently opened my mouth. I'm talking about my poop. Lucy immediately clamped her hand over my mouth and dragged me away. Looks like she was afraid I'd keep embarrassing us here. Halfway through the cocktail party, Lucy suddenly became very clingy and wouldn't let me leave. With me, the main person, not leaving. How could that scoundrel Mark have a chance? Finally, Mark couldn't hold back anymore and walked up to Lucy and me saying, Lucy, let's go over to the balcony and have a chat. Lucy gave him a quick glance and said, if Mr. Ito has something to say to me, he can say it here. I thought, Lucy must be trying to show everyone she's a perfect wife. I need to create a chance for them to be alone. I cleared my throat and said, Lucy, maybe Mr. Ito has something important to discuss with you. Come with me. I know a quieter place. I led them to a small conference room, pushed Lucy inside, and Mark followed. Then I thoughtfully closed the door for them. Of course I left a small crack in the door. I had to be ready for anything. Lucy had been acting strange lately. She might have figured out what I was doing and didn't seem to want a divorce anymore. The two of you, locked in a room together. As their feelings grew, they'd lose control, and something might happen. I bet Mark couldn't control himself. Then, I'd secretly record proof and use it to file for divorce. That way, if she's the one at fault, I might get more money. Who knows, maybe I could get $3 billion. Even though my methods weren't exactly honest, as the saying goes, you do whatever it takes. As long as it's not against the law, I'd take whatever I could get. No fear of losing, only fear of not trying. Work hard, and a bicycle can become a motorcycle. Take a chance, and the motorcycle can become a Range Rover. No luck without risk. Everyone has tough times. As expected, as soon as Mark went in, he started making his move. He said, Lucy, you know, my feelings for you are as constant as the sun and moon. Lucy stopped him from saying anything more romantic and said, "Mr. Ito, if you've come just to talk about these old feelings, then this conversation can end right now." Through the crack in the door, I saw that Mark, realizing his emotional approach wasn't working, changed his tactics. He said, "Lucy, you might not know, but George has other women. He's been using your money to fool around with them." With that, Mark showed Lucy his phone screen, probably showing some photos or videos. I thought, though I wish Mark had proof of me fooling around, the truth is, I'm still a virgin. How could I have been out chasing women? Well, fine, to make this divorce go smoothly, I'll take the blame. "Mark!" Lucy suddenly raised her voice. She glared at Mark and said, "My husband has a lot of stress. Going to a bar to relax is completely normal. Besides, he's worked hard his entire life. What's wrong with him paying attention to some young models?" Mark frowned and said, "It's not just that, Lucy. Look at this video. He even kissed one of the girls at the VIP section. What kind of decent person does that?" I thought, what Mark said seems to be true. The thing is, Lucy won't let me touch her, so I went to a bar to relax. I only chatted and held hands with someone. Well, all right, I admit it, I touched her leg. Lucy paused for 2 seconds and glanced towards the door. I quickly stepped back to hide. I thought, that was close, almost caught by Lucy. No, wait, what am I afraid of? I'm just peeking. I'm morally bad and totally shameless. As I thought this, I crept closer to peek inside the room. And of course, our eyes met. Lucy's eyes were half closed, as if silently saying, "Wait until we get home. I'll deal with you." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Mark pour some powder into 2 cups, and then quickly fill them with half a glass of red wine. He said, "Lucy, since you're so determined, I won't insist. Drink this wine, and we'll call it even." With that, Mark picked up the 2 cups of red wine mixed with some unknown powder and handed one to Lucy. I thought, damn, this Mark is really low. Using drugs now? Really? Well done. Doesn't matter whether they drink it or not. As long as the 2 of them are alone in here and emotions get the better of them, something will happen. I'll record a video and use it to file for divorce. A few billion, no problem, ha 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 ha. From my angle, I could only see their sides, but I could tell that Lucy had frowned. She then handed the glass of wine back to Mark and said, "I'll swap with you." Mark's mouth curved up slightly, but without hesitation, he swapped glasses with Lucy. Lucy brought the glass to her lips, her fiery red lips about to drink the drugged wine. I was absolutely thrilled inside. I thought, Mark seems to have done this kind of dirty work a lot. Both cups were drugged, and either way, when something happens later, he won't lose. Plus, I've heard that these things can make things more exciting. Lucy immediately stopped reaching for her drink, and as she did, her hand slipped, and the wine glass fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. Looking at the broken glass, Lucy glanced at Mark with a bit of guilt and said, "Sorry, my hand slipped. I guess our past feelings are like this wine glass, broken and impossible to fix." I thought, what a shame. Lucy must have done that on purpose. You heartless woman, not even willing to drink the last glass of wine from your first love. Just a little more, and I would have been on the verge of millions. Mark was stunned for a moment, then gritted his teeth, seemingly making up his mind. He drank the wine in his glass in one gulp, and said through clenched teeth, "Lucy, do you know I've loved you for so many years? Even when your family opposed us, I pursued you like a moth to a flame, never giving up. Now that that old man is gone, you suddenly regret it? No, I won't accept it." Lucy was stunned by Mark's sudden change in behavior, standing frozen for a moment. Then, with a cold snort, she said, "Don't think I don't know what you're after. Your Ito group has a debt of over 80%, and you're about to go bankrupt. If you marry into the Liu family now, not only can you clear your debts, but you'll also start taking over the Liu family's assets." Your personal life is a mess. Do you think I don't know? I've turned you down so many times, yet you still try your luck. Let me be clear, you're 1,000 times worse than George. I love him, and I absolutely won't divorce him. I thought. I saw it with my own eyes. This woman didn't drink the drugged wine, so why is she talking nonsense? I don't have any real feelings for you. Hurry up and divorce me. Forget about the $4 billion. Just give me back the $2 billion from before. Lucy turned to leave, and at that moment Mark's face turned red, his eyes bloodshot. I had a clear view from the crack in the door, but Lucy didn't notice. I quickly took out my phone and started recording. Sure enough, 2 seconds later, Mark suddenly rushed behind Lucy, pulling a silk scarf out of his suit pocket. He covered Lucy's mouth and nose with it and pulled her deeper into the room. Lucy's eyes widened in shock as she frantically tried to push him away with her hands. The room was dimly lit, and I couldn't see her exact expression, but I could imagine it was one of desperation. I thought, although it's not what I wanted, it's still $2 billion. The next second, I gritted my teeth and stomped my foot. $2 billion, my foot! I couldn't stand to see a woman being attacked. I kicked open the door with force, shouting, "Stop!" Then, I quickly sprinted in and side-kicked. Thankfully, I was wearing sportswear, or I might have pulled a muscle. With one kick, I sent Mark flying about 3 feet away. He stared at me in fear and said, "How are you here? Just now." I glanced at Lucy, and she looked dazed. I walked over and slapped her. She immediately snapped to her senses. Rubbing her stinging face, she glared at me. I clenched my fist with one hand and pointed at Mark with the other, yelling, "You dare, you scoundrel! In broad daylight, you're trying to hurt a decent woman." Lucy said, "It's nighttime." Her sarcastic comment made me feel quite embarrassed. It didn't matter much, though. The person most embarrassed right now was probably Mark. People outside heard the noise and came in. In a matter of seconds, Lucy had already straightened her clothes. She then calmly dialed the police. From her call, the onlookers seemed to have figured out what was going on. The more perceptive elites quickly analyzed the situation, and then they collectively started criticizing Mark and the Ito group behind him. I, the supposed hero, now seemed somewhat unnecessary. Suddenly, a small hand grabbed mine and started pulling me out. I looked closely and realized it was my wife, who seemed a bit off. We walked in silence. Lucy was clearly furious. I thought, this woman is like a ticking time bomb. It's better not to provoke her right now. That slap I gave her felt so good that I didn't hold back, and now I see that the handprint is starting to swell. She's not going to come after me later, is she? Wait, I did it to save her. I slapped her to wake her up from the drugs. The law says that if someone causes non-lethal injury while saving someone else, they're not held accountable, even if she takes me to court. I'm in the right. Lucy coldly snorted and said, "You enjoyed slapping me, didn't you?" I was speechless. I thought, this woman can read minds. I was just thinking about that and she brings it up. But this time I'm ahead. The old saying goes, if you have the facts, go to court. If you have no facts, call the police. If you have no facts or reasons, go to the media. I have both facts and reason. So what's there to be afraid of? I said, how can you say that? You don't know how dangerous the situation was. If I hadn't slapped you awake, you might have already started tearing your clothes off. I dramatically described the scene. Lucy glared at me and said, I was drugged with sleeping pills, not something that makes you excited. Why would I tear my clothes off? And you were watching from the door, enjoying the show, weren't you? I was shocked and said, How can you accuse me of that? I thought, damn, turns out she knew I was spying. No way. If I admit it, I'll be in trouble forever. I'll try to lie a little more. There's still a chance to go home for the new year. I stammered, trying to argue back, saying, listen to my side of the story. No, listen to my explanation. I was just passing by, saw a crack in the door, got curious, took a quick peek, and happened to see this scene. Without wasting any time, I rushed in with a heroic eagle strike move to save the beauty. If you don't appreciate it, fine. I should have just stayed out of it. After saying this, I turned with a sad look and looked out the window. I thought, no, I've got to keep it together. Think of something sad, or else I'll burst out laughing. Right, my $2 billion is gone. One wave of beautiful college girls after another. The laid-back country life is gone. Boo-hoo-hoo. A wave of sadness suddenly washed over me. The old poet was right. How much sorrow can one heart hold? It's like a river flowing east, endlessly. The more I thought about it, the worse it felt. My nose started to sting, and I almost cried. Lucy's voice softened as she said, "Okay, don't feel bad. I misunderstood you. How about I make it up to you tonight?" Hearing the words, "make it up," I immediately perked up and hurriedly said, "I don't need much. Just a couple of billion will do." Lucy bit her lip for a moment. Then her expression changed. With a smile in her eyes, she said, "I can offer something even more precious than that. I guarantee you'll be satisfied." I thought, this woman doesn't want to give something for free, does she? She doesn't seem like a good person. Back home, I quickly slipped into my small guest room. After washing up, I started planning my grand future. In my phone's notes, I wrote down what I'd need to take when I returned to the countryside. Suddenly, a nice smell drifted in, and a soft, fluffy hug pressed against my back. I turned my head to find Lucy, somehow already wearing a short bathrobe, leaning behind me. The robe was perfectly modest, just the right amount of coverage. Any more, and it would be inappropriate. Any less, and it would drive a man crazy. She whispered, "We've been married for so long, and we still haven't had our wedding night." Lucy was now close, her cheek brushing against my ear. I quickly turned off my phone screen and said, What are you doing? We're husband and wife. What's wrong with just talking things through? No need for physical actions." Lucy snorted and said, "If you don't cooperate, I'll sue you, saying you're trying to force yourself on me. And the minimum sentence would be 3 years. I quickly pushed Lucy away and said, "You're twisting the facts." Lucy took a small step and sat down on the armrest of the sofa. She said, "So, who do you think they'll believe? You or me?" I thought, I'm in trouble. Looks like tonight I'm going to lose all dignity. How am I supposed to divorce now? Damn it! A real man can bend and stretch. I'll take this humiliation for now, and someday I'll get my revenge. Fine. Tomorrow I'll go to the hospital and figure out a way to make myself unable to have children. Then I'll take her for a checkup. Lucy will definitely divorce me. With this thought in mind, I reluctantly gave in to her and endured a passionate night. The next day I looked up male birth control methods online. The most common one was a vasectomy, but there were also male birth control pills, though they weren't available locally, and I'd have to buy imported ones. I quickly dragged a friend to buy them. Over the next few days, I kept finding excuses to avoid being alone with Lucy. Half a month later, the medicine finally arrived. Since Lucy had become more open physically, she now wanted me to be intimate with her 3 times a day. Morning, noon, and night. No one could handle that. A few days ago, I kept turning her down, and tonight I was going to turn her down again. She was bound to get angry. Holding the medicine, I was getting ready to take it. I thought, one pill lasts for 3 months, and this box is enough for 2 years. If I can't get her pregnant in 2 years, Lucy will definitely think something's wrong. Then we'll go for an exam, and my divorce money will be mine. The next second, a female voice suddenly called out, "Honey, what are you doing?" I jumped. The pill slipped from my hand, and I quickly bent down to pick it up. She asked, "Honey, are you looking for something on the floor? Is it this?" Lucy bent down and handed me something. I looked at the pregnancy test strip with 2 red lines and was lost in thought. I asked, "What is this?" Lucy helped me up and said, "It's normal that you don't understand. This is a pregnancy test. 2 lines mean you're pregnant. I was so shocked that I took a step back, and I felt like I stepped on something. After a brief thought, it must have been the pill. It seems it's already useless now. I was devastated and thought, it's over. The plan that was about to work has failed. I should have thought of this earlier, damn Lucy. She was supposed to be this cold, reserved beauty, but now she's like a wild horse, constantly wanting intimacy 3 times a day. Of course she's pregnant. The next day, I took Lucy to the maternity checkup. Before long, it was our turn to go in. The results were normal. Taking advantage of the situation, I hurriedly asked the doctor, "Doctor, is it safe to have intimacy while pregnant?" The doctor glared at me and said, "Not in the first 3 months or the last 3 months." I asked hopelessly, "So the middle 4 months are fine?" The female doctor stood up, glared at me, and scolded, "Hey, even though your wife is pretty, she's pregnant. What the hell are you thinking?" I immediately felt relieved, turned to Lucy, and said, "Did you hear that? The doctor said it's not safe." Lucy pouted and said, "Oh, okay, I won't push you, but we'll settle the score later."